CM 365, all about Carnatic music. Today we will discuss the role of accompaniment in the context of Indian classical music. In fact, I would say that whether it is Hindustani music or Carnatic music, the role of the accompanist is very, very unique. And here we see that even while referring to some instruments, like for example, we say a vocal concert or an instrumental concert of veena, flute, etc., and accompanied by so and so. For example, we can say vocal concert by Madurai Shri T. N. Sheshagopalan, and accompanied on the violin by Shri M. Chandrasekhar, and accompanied on the mridangam by Shri Guruvayur Durai, and so on. So where we see that there is a principal performer and the others on stage are known as the accompanists. Now, what is the role of the accompanist actually in the context of Carnatic music? It is not just about keeping the melody or keeping the rhythm as a undercurrent. There are much more important roles that the accompaniments play in the context of Carnatic music, in the sense that they embellish every piece and add aesthetic beauty through their beautiful touches actually that they give, be it the melodic instrument like the violin or the percussion like the mridangam, ganjira, ghatam, etc. And in the case of rhythm, we see that they emphasize the underlying rhythmic construction of the piece also, because every composition has got its own distinct rhythmic structure, and the role played by the mridangam and the other percussion accompaniments is in terms of highlighting these rhythmic aspects which are actually inherent in each of these compositions. And also in the Manodharma aspects, we see that when the artist is singing Kalpanaswaram, Neraval, etc., there are many complicated, intricate rhythmic structures, and all these are also brought out, very beautifully by the rhythmic accompaniments, where they try to highlight what the main artist is actually trying to present here. Now, the accompaniment actually, in a larger perspective, we see that the accompaniments are a part of the music concert, be it the vocal concert or the instrumental. Then apart from that, even kalakshepas or operas, dance dramas, in dance performances, everything we see that we have what we call as the accompanists. Now, in the case of vocal accompaniment, what do we mean by vocal accompaniment? Sometimes we see that there is a main performer and his shishya probably accompanies him through the concert. Now, what is the purpose of this kind of an accompaniment? Is first thing is, of course, the shishya lends some kind of a vocal support to the guru. The second thing is, of course, the priceless kind of experience that he gains by sitting near the guru and absorbing and observing him in close quarters, and many things which cannot be really taught the formal way. Many things like that are imbibed through the process of listening to the guru by sitting with him. So that kind of vocal accompaniment, that role is also served. Sometimes we see that the guru becomes quite old, and sometimes he may not be able to perform continuously. Yet his contribution in terms of his experience, the musical experience and his musical, kind of expertise is very much sought after by the audience. So in that case, what we see that the vocal accompaniment given by the shishya is also some kind of a big support to the guru in terms of sustenance throughout the concert. In a Kalakshepa, we see that there are upagayikas, about two in the traditional concert Kalakshepas. We see that there are what we call as the upagayikas. And in the bhajana tradition also, we see that there are many vocal accompaniments, in the sense that there is a lead singer who will sing the bhajane, the namavalis, and the others who are there in the group, as vocal accompaniment, they will follow him and repeat the same namavali, one after the other. And in dance, we see that also we have the main artist as the singer who sings for the dance, and then the natunar and other accompaniments are there, like the flute, the veena, mridangam, and so on. And coming to the kind of accompaniments, there are basically what we call as the drone accompaniment, the melodic accompaniment, and the rhythmic accompaniment. By drone accompaniment, we actually are referring to the tambura. which may be the manual tambura or the electronic tambura. You would have seen that in all the top singers, when they're performing, they will have a manual tambura at the behind them being played by a shishya or a tambura player. Today, of course, it's also very common to have the electronic tambura in front of them, or some other mode where the electronic medium of the tambura is also used. And what is the purpose of this drone accompaniment? Of course, basically here it is very, very important. This drone accompaniment is the most important, I would say, because it actually helps the principal performer and his accompaniment to maintain Shruti Shuddha or the pitch accuracy. So it actually gives a guideline as to what is the Shruti in which the vocalist is going to sing. And the same Shruti, you will see that the violinist and the Mridangam Vidwan, Ghatam Vidwan, all of them will tune their instrument to this particular pitch. So that way we see that the tambura is a very, very important role it plays here as a drone, as whatever is performed on the stage. Actually, whether the composition, the manodharma, or the violin interludes, or the mridangam accompaniment, the mridangam tanya or thanam, all of them actually gain meaning and aesthetic beauty only because of the fact that they're tuned perfectly to the drone accompaniment, which is the tambura. Now, all of them actually, again here we see that the whole music itself becomes meaningful because of this drone accompaniment. Just imagine without the drone and everybody singing in their own pitch, and the violinist playing in another pitch, the mridangam in another pitch, it will be totally discordant. So that way the drone accompaniment in the form of a tambura is very important. In this context, we could also say that if you look at the Nadaswaram tradition, where we see that we have something called the Uttu, that is another, Nadaswaram being played continuously, which helps to sustain the Adhara Shruti for the whole concert. And also in earlier Nadaswaram concerts, we see that we used to have an exclusive Shruti box player. The old kind of a bellow kind of instrument, Shruti box, used to be played by somebody separately also. Today, of course, with modernization, we see that even Nadaswaram concerts, mostly they are using the electronic kind of a tambura mode. Thus, we see that the role of accompaniment in the context of Carnatic music is really very, very valuable. And just the main singer singing by himself actually will be totally pale and it will be lifeless. So all these accompaniments actually add so much of life and aesthetic beauty to the whole performance.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.